guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to do this video. It mainly is just to help anybody out. Maybe they've been through similar, or maybe if it ever happens you'll be able to recognise what happened. So anybody who knows me knows that I am unbelievably so unlucky with getting hacked and spammed, and it's something that I deal with nearly every month. There's something new, but there's been a few, especially one lately, that they're quite detrimental when they happen. So I thought if I do like a video and I can give you like tips and tell you the story, and then maybe if it happens to you, you'll be able to recognise and then not fall for the traps that I fell for. So grab a cup of tea, because this one's probably going to be a long video. I've got 2 incidents, maybe 3, that I want to talk about. So first of all, the first time it ever happened to me, I was on a website, what I thought was a pharmaceutical company in America. It all looked like it was in America. And their dermal fillers, and I think chemical peels it was just so much cheaper, like red flags, than here in the UK. So my young entrepreneurial brain at the time thought I could buy a big shipment of this chemical peel and these filler, and then maybe I could, stock the medi spa, I could sell some, whatever. Actually later on, you actually can't do that now anyway, but at the time you could. So there's been like laws now for, well, the isn't, people are still doing it, but you should buy from a reputable pharmacy. But anyway, I was very young and naive and thought, so going back and forth on email with this pharmaceutical company, what I thought, and then I wanted to purchase, say, £500 worth, I think that's what it was. Spoke to my mum and dad about it and was like, it sounds, there's something that's like triggering me that maybe it's not, but it's that much of a, if it comes and it, if it is real and it, then the profit margin and the business opportunity is worth the risk. So I thought. So speaking to this man, I've heard similar with dogs on like a Gumtree, is that what it's called? I think it's called Gumtree, which similar thing happens. So he asked me to go and send the £500. Now £500 was just a deposit, what I was paying to secure it, and then there was more money to it, but because there was just something that I felt uneasy about, I'd come to this agreement with him, because he was, doing me a favour, that we would send £500 first and I would get samples. So he asked me to go to the money exchange, which obviously now everybody who's watching is going to go, is she thick? But yeah, I was. So I goes to the money exchange, and the first red flag was that the money was actually getting sent over to France, not America. So when I looked at it, I didn't really question it too much. I just assumed maybe they had a distributor from France or whatever. I didn't think too much into it. So I went to the first money exchange shop, and the first thing the man said to me is, this is flagging as like fraud, or it's flagging as like a warning. Do you know this person? Do you know this company? Is this a business? So I spoke to the person at the desk and said, no, I don't know them, blah blah, and he said, no, don't send the money, this is a fraud. So contacted the what I thought was the pharmaceutical person, and said obviously they won't let me send it over, they're saying it's fraud, and he was like, no, what it is it's because they want you to pay tax on it, it's because you're doing it, so you have to say, you wouldn't believe that I fell for it, that we are friends and you are coming visiting, you're coming travelling or whatever over, and you know me and you're sending the money. For some insane reason that I still to this day cannot believe, I went to another money exchange shop, and they said, do you know this person? It looks like fraud. And I said, yeah, I know him. I'm going over there next month. I'm sending him some money, he's looking for an apartment for me. It makes me laugh now to even say it, but when you get kind of roped into it, because it's back and forth email, and it's like, you know, like you get into these conversations, and obviously it's their job, so they're so believable, or I'm so naive. So sends the £500. Needless to say, never got an email back off the person ever again. Products didn't come in the post. And I got my cousin, it was so strange as well, because it's like you gut feeling. I didn't check Google reviews until after I'd sent the money. So I sent the money, and I knew straight away what I'd done. I literally got in my car and Google reviewed the business, and it just come up, don't send the money, frauds, don't send, and I'd sent it, and it's just like, I just didn't want to hear it at the time, because it was such a good, it was like my first little like entrepreneurial like idea, which obviously blew up in my face, but you learn. So yeah, so that was my first experience of it, which is totally and utterly my fault. Crazy that I would even do it. Now, the second experience is, it really traumatized me, if I'm honest with you. I thought I was like, when I went to the Asda after, I thought someone was following me. But what had happened is, I was in clinic, and my phone rang. Now my phone rang off at 08 whatever number, and they said that day was Barclays Bank, and they could see that my card had been used for like coin bit or something at 1 o'clock in the morning. Was that me? No, it's not me. Okay, it looks like your card's been compromised. Can you give us the 3 digits to your PIN? Never give you 6 out, give you 3. So give them the 3 out. Boom, phone died. Well, phone went off. So they rang back. Hi, sorry, we got cut off there. This is such and such from Barclays. Actually, I tried to call back because I was in a panic because I thought my card had been compromised. I tried to call back, and it went to, hello, this is Barclays, press 1, blah, blah. So they butterflied the number somehow to Barclays, or they recorded it to sound like it was Barclays. So they phoned me back again. Hi, sorry, they've got caught off. This is such and such from Barclays. We spoke before, we're in the fraud team. Can you give me your 4th, 5th, 6th PIN? Didn't click. They've got the whole 6 digits of the PIN. So that was first of all. So then they went on to, so how they done it, I can't remember the specifics of it, but I'll try and break it down a little bit. How they done it is, then they asked me to go onto the app, the Barclays app, and you've got this identify and respond, identify, respond. I'm thinking this is Barclays, this is not fraud, this is someone who's helping me with fraud. So they done the same thing with the identifying fraud, but when the phone went off again, what I done is I moved all the money that was in the account. There was a nice little bit of money for my 23-year-old age, and I moved it to my NatWest account so I could carry on the day. You know what, I've got patients in, leave me alone, I'll sort it. Barclays is empty, they can't get any more money. So he calls me back, and I said, I'm with a patient right now, which then indicated to them that I was some sort of doctor, or I had hundreds of thousands in the bank because I was with a patient. So he was adamant to get into my account then. So he had me PIN, we'd gone onto this identify respond, so he was on the app then. So he was calling out to me what was on my bank statement. So obviously it's Barclays in my head, sitting there on a computer screen, it's Barclays. So then I said to him, don't worry, I'm with a patient, I haven't got the time to deal with this now, I've wiped my account. Oh, what do you mean you've wiped your account? I've sent it to Nationwide. Oh, right, okay, put the phone down. Now this should have been, this really, you would think that I would have got onto this by now, but I never. My phone rings again, another number. Hi, this is Jake from Nationwide. Steve from Barclays has just given us a phone call to say that, to let us know that it's been compromised. I'm just letting you know now that we're gonna freeze your account for, it can take up to 6 weeks while we investigate this fraud that's happening. We do suggest that if you need any of this money, you move it back to Barclays. I know, just bear with me. We move it back to Barclays because you're not going to be able to touch your money's going to be froze, and it can take up to 6 weeks. I was paying for a holiday at the time, so couldn't have my money froze for 6 weeks. Moves it back to Barclays, but I put it into a savings. So they couldn't get into the savings because the savings had a different code or something in it. So I put some in the savings and I kept some in the account or something on the lines of that. So then I didn't want to deal with the phone calls again because it was going on to like, it was dark outside, and I remember thinking like and then it just clicked in my head and I just knew what had happened. I understood, and I was like, wow. So the next, phones Barclays, actually phones real Barclays off my app, goes through, they know who you are because you've put your code in, a phone Barclays, I explain everything. And at the time it was through COVID, like it was when like they were working from home. I was working, so it couldn't have been a lockdown, but it was through when they were working at home. And I remember hearing like the woman was at home. So I explained everything and she said, do not worry, I've frozen your account, everything is frozen, it is bulletproof, nobody can get your money now. They haven't managed to take anything out, so don't worry about it. So, but the only thing is that I didn't have a pin, or it deleted me, they'd reset me app, so I couldn't get on it, so I couldn't see. So the next morning it goes into work and something was just eating me up inside, and it was, so I work really by Barclays, so I walks down to Barclays, puts my card in, zero, you've got no money in your account. So it goes into Barclays in floods of tears, crying my eyes out, speak to the woman, they bring me into a room, I have to speak, and the only godsend was that that woman who worked in Barclays had made a mistake, and she hadn't frozen my account, and throughout the night they put it down as rent. It was Mohammed Sutton, and it just said rent payments, and it was just within the thousands. Thankfully my angels were watching, because I had give them my pin and I had give them the ident and respond. It wasn't classed as fraud, it was classed as scam, which they have to investigate, and it can take a few weeks to resolve. So thankfully the woman had made the mistake. Because the woman had made the mistake, Barclays just give me my money back and change the account and stuff, because it was a mistake on their behalf. So, and then obviously I really spoke in depth with people, and I've got a friend who works for Barclays, and she said, because I felt so stupid, like unbelievably so stupid and so vulnerable. Like I'd literally been I'd had conversations with this man thinking he was helping me out, going, thank you so much, Stephen. Oh, thank you for helping me, Stephen. And he was like, oh yeah, they're terrible, these fraudsters, they'll get into your account, they'll wipe it out, you know, they need to get, you know, just honestly general conversations. You're going on holiday this year, just all that. And within the conversations, he'd got my mother's maiden name out of me, which was like a secret question. They were just so clever on what they'd done. But yeah, I spoke to one of my friends who worked for Barclays at the time, or she worked for some sort of bank, and she said, we've been on training days and we've actually took calls and you don't know whether it's real or it's not. Like, they're so clever at what they do. So since then I requested to all my banks that if they ever needed to contact me, to not do it over phone, because I wouldn't be answering any calls. So my banks have got it like down that, like, probably says like she's naive, don't phone her, but I've got it like in my head that like I'm high risk for fraud. So I don't answer 08 numbers, I don't answer 02 numbers. If somebody wants me, they are going to contact me through email or through letter. Like, I don't take any phone calls. So that was that incident. Thankfully I got all my money back, but it was like a big lesson. So recently, so they were in my 20s, I'm now 31, we're going on a few years. I've had some little silly things in between and stuff. It kind of always happens to me. It's like an ongoing joke now with my friends. But recently, as in this week, this is why I've decided to like do this video to like try and help out. I went to Poland. So before I'd gone to Poland, I'd seen something suspicious on my business page in Facebook. It was like a page was created called Aesthetic Shop. Now anyone who's got a business page on Facebook, you'll know you pay for advertisements, and mine was linked up to my PayPal. So I'd just seen something, but me just being not looking into it, going on holiday very soon, not really, just left it, changed my password, I think I did. So we got restricted and banned on Facebook. It said that I had exploited sexual content or had broke these rules, which I obviously had not. So that was a bit strange, didn't think anything of it, just disputed it, thought it was a mistake. You go weeks with Facebook going back and forth, banned for 51 days. Goes over to Poland and gets off the flight, and my Monzo started going ding, £90, ding, £20, ding, 40, 60, 90, 125. Now Monzo are amazing, and you have to accept payments. Declines them. PayPal. I was set up on PayPal as pre-approved payments. So PayPal have kindly paid Facebook, so they thought, all these payments, it mounted up to £360. I'm in Poland, I'm with my friends, it's my mate's 30th, didn't know what to do, and started making phone calls from my phone. Now my hotspot was left on. This is only me surmise, and someone who really knows what's going on might listen and think, no, she's got that all wrong, but my hotspot was left on. So what had happened is my phone was kind of a free-for-all, it was open, so they don't know your pins or whatever, but it's something to do with your cookies, who knows, I haven't got a clue. So phones, PayPal are really good in what they do is they actually put the money in your account, so that when it comes back out, it's PayPal that is paying them, kind of thing. That's like kind of what happened. But I didn't understand at the time, so when that money went back in, I just assumed that was my money, that was the money that they'd taken. Facebook, I was in arrears with Facebook of 300 and something pounds, with a limit of 20 grand on this campaign that they'd made. A campaign's an advert, so it could go up to, so if I had £20,000 in my account, they were getting £20,000. That's why it was just keep coming. How many hits it got was whatever, I don't really know. So got onto Facebook, and don't bearing in mind you're trying to do this all on your phone, because I was on holiday, didn't have my laptop with me, and while I'm doing this my hotspot is on, and I am just open floodgates of just hackers to just get into my account or whatever, get into my code. So comes home on Monday, dealt with everything, felt like everything was fine, no money had been taken out, PayPal had refunded, contacted Facebook and asked them to unbar me because it's not me, and I got an email off Microsoft Office. Your email address has been compromised, please change your email password. So because of everything that was going on all around me, I didn't think for 1 minute, oh, this could be fake. It looked very real to me. Clicks on it, changes my password. The next morning I wake up to 300 hits on my website in 45 minutes. My sent email was, I think they had sent something like 300, say. It was going on forever. Invoices from Elegance Aesthetics. So people, thankfully it wasn't my mailing list, it was not my client, it was not a breach of my data protection because we keep our mailing list separate. But it was just a random mailing list, and I had phone call after phone call, email after email, text message after text message. Hi, who are you? Who is Elegance Aesthetics? You sent me an invoice. When they clicked on that invoice, it then went on to there, and then it would unfollow. So I sat with ICT man for like 4 hours and recovered my email, recovered my Microsoft, because that's everything. When you put your Microsoft log in, like now especially, it's all my documents, it's all everything, because I've got different computers on different sites and different laptops, so it's all linked. So recovered everything, but you know, it could have been detrimental to my business. One, because now Elegance Aesthetics Outlook.com is probably blocked on all them people's mailing lists, which luckily they're not potential clients, but maybe they could be in the future. Two, every time them people hear Elegance Aesthetics now, they're going to think of, oh yeah, she's that girl who got her email hacked or whatever. Some of them have then fell for the same trick and now it's happened to them, so it's just an absolute nightmare. It felt a lot worse at the time, I'm not going to lie. At the time I was just panic-ridden, I didn't understand it, I'm a control freak, I didn't know what had happened, I like sobbed my heart out. But then once someone had sat down with me who was a bit technical and, you know, showed me what had happened and stuff, it was just a case of me clicking on the wrong link and me changing my passwords. They'd actually done a recovery email to their Gmail, so even when I was changing the password, they was just recovering it to theirs and changing it back to whatever they've got. So yeah, like, they are 3 cases where you can see 3 different ways. One where I've just been rushing and I've just, you know, not like took a step back and gone, just think about this for a minute. The deal was too good, so I wanted to get the £500 over there before someone else worked out how cheap this business opportunity was going to be. I was with a patient, I was all chocker, he'd phone me in between, so, and I'd answered the phone, I'd give him details, and I was on holiday and I was all stressed, and I've changed my password, so they're all times. Now what I've done is I have taken off most things off my phone, so when something like this does happen, because I'm sure it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, because I am so unbelievably blessed and so lucky in so many other ways, but this just seems to be my little bad luck charm. Like, this just seems to be my little thing that always tends to happen, so I'm sure it's going to happen again. But when it does happen again, it's going to be on my laptop. I'm going to have to take the time to go and get the laptop, to go to separate that time to think, which will hopefully trigger in my mind, this could be a spam or this could be fraud. So yeah, I thought I'd just share them 3. I could probably think of hundreds, not hundreds, I could probably think of 10 more different occasions, but they're 3 big main ones that like have really affected me and I've really like done my head in. And so hopefully if you get any phone calls, or you get, because literally it was Barclays, I phoned it back, it was Barclays, it looked like Microsoft, that everything on that screen told me that it was Microsoft telling me to change my password. There was nothing that indicated that it was a fake one. The money exchange one, I'm just putting it down to being young and being silly because that one is like, even telling that story back again, I'm like, actually, are you joking? Are you listening to yourself? And it's quite funny because at the time I was telling my boyfriend, and my boyfriend was like, don't do it. Do not do it. Are you crazy? Do not do it. Do not do it. So even I didn't tell him I was going to do it, which should indicate that something's going to be wrong. I was like, I just won't tell him. Like I just won't tell him. And I'd done it, and then I phoned him and said, you know that thing that you told me not to do? Well, it did do, and you was right. And I'm £500 down now. So yes, like, please learn from my mistakes, guys, and don't get frauded and scammed like I do. Thank you for watching my little video.